Hello, everyone. Just Z with some astrology here for the new moon that's coming up this Sunday. So we're moving into some of the darkest dark as we approach this new moon time, which will be happening at 12:33 p.m. Central Time. This is an astrology chart that was cast for Moorhead, Minnesota, January 2nd, 2022. So here's what's going on. The sun and moon will be together at 12:20 in Capricorn, and they are at the degree that reads a fire worshiper. There's a lot with this new moon energy about honoring the fire element. Just past the solstice, it's a time when they used to light great fires and to let the fire carry us through these dark days. It's still Christmas. It's still the season of Christmas, which is about 2 weeks. So honoring the new moon with a candle, with a fire would be very appropriate for this particular day. Got a lot going on in the chart here. This grouping in Capricorn here, there's the sun and the moon. This is directly overhead when the full moon is, or new moon is exact. And then right next door, we have Juno, the goddess of marriage, Hieros Gamos, or Hera. And she is really close, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. She should be within 3, but Venus is going to get closer to Juno because Venus is in her retrograde. So these two are going to, within this moon cycle, Venus and Juno will have a conjunction coming up pretty soon. So a review of balanced relationships, of marriage even, considering the legal affairs that have to do with marriage, considering if things are in balance or not. So Venus will be considering some of that coming up in this moon cycle. And then Venus is thankfully moving away from Pluto in her retrograde. So she's still making that conjunction, and they were exact on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and many of us had very challenging Christmases because Venus and Pluto can be like the feminine in the underworld. So I and my husband were sick, and there's a lot of people also who are struggling with health, which is kind of normal at this time of year. But I'm just sending everybody wishes for wellness and for health and recovery as this new moon is born. So what else we got? The same Saturn square Uranus situation, which has been going on much of 2021, is still making that conjunction, and that also is exact on Christmas. And those exact conjunctions tend to bring about more lockdowns and more restrictions or more legal laws and regulations, and the tension between freedom and law is highlighted within this conjunction. They'll still be making conjunctions throughout 2022. I don't think they get exact as they have been, but I think they get pretty close in the fall again. But that is still happening. With this new moon, Mars is giving Saturn some support here with the sextile from Sagittarius here, and Mars supporting Saturn. Mars is often passionate warrior, Saturn is often structures. So there could be more fiery military structural support that's aiding Saturn and kind of giving that cold, unfeeling father taskmaster that Saturn can have the upper hand in this tension between Uranus. That's going to shift though, because Uranus is going to go direct on Tuesday, January 18th. And then Uranus will be really pushing for more freedom and revolution. And that will likely pervade much of the energy of 2022. Some other aspects going on here. Venus is sextiling Neptune, so giving some support here. Neptune being mysterious and filled with illusions and fantasy, for better or for worse, can also have to do with transcendence. You could be finding some reviews as Venus is in retrograde, thinking back about past fantasies or illusions that you may have been stuck in your relationships. So getting some more reviews about those types of things. Another thing that's interesting that I realized just recently was that the United States is having a Neptune opposition. And I was just sensing how it seems like there's like this illusion and this illusion, and neither one of them has the whole truth, and yet the mirrors seem very strong. And as someone who has a Libra moon, it's very stressful for me to feel like I can understand this side and this side, and to try to have that bridge that can we see each other clearly. With a Neptune opposition, it's like there's two illusions mirroring each other and they're just facing off. So this is, in a way, something to do with an initiation of the United States and facing our illusions. I believe that the United States in their chart, Gemini is the partner. So really learning how to balance the twins. So that made sense when I recognized that that was a Neptune opposition. The other thing that's happening for the United States chart is Pluto, the Pluto return. And this year in, let's see, February 11th, so coming up, is going to be a close exact of the United States Pluto return. So we're going to feel more of that facing the karma of the United States and facing the underworld stuff that has happened since we became a country. So what else do I have? Let's see if I can discern my notes here. All right, we'll go on to the next one. Sun and moon and the midheaven are making a square with this event vertex, which is over in Libra at 1044. And I thought this is interesting because I keep seeing this number 144 or 444 pop up all the time. So here we are, 144, 1044. And the vertex is kind of how the light is uniquely shining through this particular event. And the Sabian for this symbol is, if I can find it, a time to go bravely forward. So consider for this new moon, what is it that I need to be brave about right now? What is it that I need to kind of move ahead? Because once this new moon starts, there's a lot of energy kind of charging forward through January that will be kind of giving us some movement and momentum. So also Chiron just recently went direct, Chiron the wound. And the day that Chiron went retrograde was the day that my beautiful grandmother elm tree was cut down due to Dutch elm's disease. I was so sad. And so here now Chiron's moving forward. So that's opposite the vertex here in this event chart. So we could be reflecting on the wounds that kind of came into our awareness through this Chiron retrograde, and moving forward with our healing, moving forward with more healthy habits and with more soul and self-growth. All right, other conjunctions going on here. Jupiter just moved into Pisces. So this is going to also add a different flavor to 2022. Jupiter is a wise sage in Pisces. So you could be finding when you're going into meditative states or when you're kind of tuning into the energies and opening up for wisdom, that there's a lot more to be found with Jupiter in Pisces. Pisces is a water sign, so there could also be more water element. It's a mutable sign, so it's transforming things that might be heavy, like depression or something that's just very heavy emotionally, and transforming it into its nectar, its deeper transcendent meaning. So I really do think that with Jupiter and Pisces, this year is going to have a lot more spiritual wisdom. It's going to be more readily available for all of us. The AC of this event is happening in the very last degrees of Aries. It's also the most fortunate path. And it's making a trine with Vesta, sacred fires, which seems significant because where the sun and moon were have to do with fire worshipers. And Vesta is honoring the sacred fires and is in Sag, which is a fire sign. And so there's this fire trine between the event path, the most fortunate path, and sacred priestess fires of Vesta. The ascendant degree, the Sabian reads, a large, disappointed audience. So we might all be feeling that after the holidays, that collective disappointment, like I'm so disappointed that the holidays were challenging, or the pandemic is still happening, or whatever it is. We may collectively just be feeling that disappointment. So just notice that's happening so we can collectively grieve. Right. Mercury has just moved into Aquarius at the new moon. It's at 025 up here. He's kind of hiding behind all my lines I'm making, and trining the north node of destiny for this new moon moment. So Mercury is going to be moving through the air signs in Aquarius, and on January 14 coming up, Mercury is going to go retrograde in Aquarius, and Mercury is going to kind of be hanging out with Saturn. It's going to move towards Saturn, then it's going to move back over Saturn. So it's like Mercury is the trickster, Mercury is the alchemist, Mercury connects us to the gods, and Mercury can help transform things. So there's something in the Aries Saturn structure that Mercury is going to help kind of parse out through this retrograde. And then Mercury is going to go back into Capricorn, and the retrograde will end February 5th. Mercury will go direct and then be making his way through. So we'll have both Mercury and Venus in retrograde for that. And then Uranus will just be coming out of its retrograde on January 18th. So as usual with Mercury retrogrades, it's recommended to hold your plans lightly. Travel plans could change, to be mindful not to sign too many contracts or to lock down some kind of agreement in a business partnership, because as Mercury is reviewing, those kinds of things could fall through. Also watch out for technology snafus, and double check communications and make sure that you're not rushing into a communication snafu when Mercury is retrograde. Right. This is kind of an interesting one, I thought, and it's close, but I thought because Venus was just with Pluto, I wanted to highlight how Pluto is almost making a trine here with Ceres, and Ceres and Venus and Pluto are all a part of the Eleusinian mysteries that have to do with the descent of the goddess and the story of the mother losing the daughter, and then when the mother is separated from her daughter, how it's winter, nothing grows, and things become cold and barren. So with the trine here, that energy may have been, will be a little more constellated. So even finding yourself thinking about frustration of, I've lost something, I can't find something, what is it that I'm looking for? You might be having dreams about searching for something that's really important to you. So that trine can be highlighting some of those themes. The big aspect that's happening for this new moon is the sun and the moon will be trining Uranus. And that's going to be, Uranus is going to be a big factor in this 2022, and especially as Uranus moves direct on January 18th. Sun and moon have out there the main lights in the sky. They can also represent father and mother. They can represent the internal, God, goddess. And Uranus is an electrical genius. It can bring forth like wise, sage wisdom itself. It likes the creative freedom to be able to practice that genius work. And it can also send out like electrical impulses. So there could be lots of energy for this new moon with this particular aspect you're making the trine. Okay, put all those lines back up there. It's a little scary here as there, looks like I made the T-square from sun and moon over here to Chiron over to the vertex. So these are like weaker aspects. I mean, it's not like a hard square, but sun and moon really amplify, you know, moon 10 degrees and sun up to 15. So with Chiron just recently going direct, having that consciousness of the wound may be kind of agitating in order to really break out of some stuck places that were wounded and breaking through maybe some old traumas. And then that T-square here is asking for liberation from potentially old wounds, or moving forward in a new way, responding differently to life, responding with new skills, and breaking through from old trauma patterns. So Chiron is here right across from this vertex here. And I did find it interesting that the asteroid Hera was right by the vertex as well, especially as Juno is about to get really close to Venus up here. Those issues will likely be highlighted in this next moon cycle. Let's see. That square is, the square that we've had for a while with Eris, the goddess of chaos, and Pluto, lord of the underworld. And that stimulation, that as these kind of underworld things are happening and Eris is stimulating the chaos and kind of turning our worlds upside down, that she's doing this so that we grow in consciousness, so that we don't stay stuck in these old patterns. So that is continuing. The other aspect here I found with Mars is that Mars is almost exactly conjunct to Athena, who is also a warrior goddess, making a square here. So there could be like this, you know, this duel between the feminine warrior and the masculine warrior kind of heading off, as, you know, Mars is starting to stimulate that conjunction. That's the last one I have. Yep. All right. So some other things to note, I just want to make sure, is on Tuesday, the 11th of January and the 12th of January, Mars is going to be making a square, almost an exact square, with Neptune. So let's just unwind the chart here. And here's Mars. Mars is going to be at 20 degrees on January 11th and 12th. And it's going to be making this tight square. And Tuesdays tend to be Mars's day. So Mars square Neptune, I think that we were having a similar, we had Mars square Jupiter when those tornadoes hit. So Mars square Neptune could be like, still like military strategic stuff. If it's on a Tuesday, even more so. And then with Neptune, it could be, deception, things that are nebulous, things that are not seen, and more of its lower aspects. And its higher aspects, because everything has different octaves. So if we can really reach for the stars literally and get the nectar out of the higher aspects, Mars could have that kind of spiritual warrior aspect. And Neptune could have that transcendence, like, like I just got this big concept. I had some kind of liberation. When there's a square, there's tension, and it can be used to help us break through. So when we miss, this is my opinion, take it or leave it, but I think when we miss the opportunities to take action, that's for our highest good, then we get kind of the lower octaves, lower expressions of this. But if we can literally reach for the stars and use that energy to really have our own breakthroughs. So Sagittarius likes to reach for the stars where Mars is. And Neptune is really deep in the alchemical mysteries. So just note that date and consider what kind of spiritual breakthrough that you might be called to go on. And the other thing that I want to make note of is that Wednesday, the 19th of January, the North Node is going to move into Taurus. And for until July 2023, the nodes are going to be in Taurus Scorpio. So you can see the nodes here, right here, the very last degrees of Sag in the South Node. Actually, this is the beginning of Sag. And then the very early degrees here of Gemini. And so Wednesday, January 19th, those nodes are going to shift, and the North Node will be in the late degrees of Taurus. So it's going to cross Ceres again. Ceres has to do with food, with nurturing, with caring and providing. And then that South Node is going to be moving through Scorpio. And Scorpio, with it being in the South Node, one way to look at that is that the South Node is like the strength and the strength of the past or the strength of history, our own experience. So in looking at the chart, often we're directed to move away from the South Node and to really consider that collective North Node that it's our collective destiny that we're trying to hit as humanity. So we'll really be focused more on Earth stuff with that North Node moving through Taurus through this time, which I think is going to shift some of the dynamics of that square with Saturn and Uranus. It'll really add a lot more energy to the Taurus values, which is great because I'm a Taurus. Taurus likes to take things slow unless necessary, unless provoked, and then Taurus can be the bull and have a lot of fire. But generally, Taurus enjoys the sensual things of life, enjoys the beauty, the earth, all of those things associated with the spring time as well. So it should be a really interesting shift of energy for 2022. Let me just see if I checked all my boxes here of everything I wanted to share. Okay, I think I did. All right, well, to close, I'm going to pick 3 cards for this new moon to help give us some guidance and some symbols to reflect on and to help charge this new moon in a way that serves our highest good and the highest good of all. So, number 1. Destiny, divine purpose, passion, and service. Throat portal. Throat chakra stuff, finding our expression, finding our voice. Speak your truth. Courage, which was our vertex, to take courage, boldly move forward. And dealing with suppression, so becoming mindful of when you feel that you can't speak or when that you're suppressing your truth, to find the courage to express yourself. One more. Oh, these guys. Galactic guidance, star family, assistance, and cooperation. So we just did a big meditation on the solstice to ask for galactic help and guidance to help humanity through this transition that we're going through. So those are our 3 cards: Destiny, Throat Portal, and Galactic Guidance. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I will see you later. Take care.